Yeah, man, it's the 12th of July, 2023, and there's nothing like being woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning from broadcast torture. A bunch of gang stalkers infiltrating my dreams. And when you start having dreams, and they're really crazy dreams with a bunch of people involved with them, you can pretty well bet that these gang stalkers are using broadcast to infiltrate or manipulate your dreams, to be a part of your dreams. And when that starts, it's like you're hosting a broadcast party on your neurological frequency. So basically on your mind, you're hosting a broadcast party, a mind control broadcast party where all these different people are connected through mind control and having uh, an involvement with your dreams. And, it's sometimes cool, sometimes not cool. I mean, sometimes dreams are cool, sometimes they're not cool. They try to influence you, and in reality, they want to try to make you believe this or make you believe that, and they can use your dreams to try to achieve that. And sometimes they can involve people that they also have access to their neural monitoring as a targeted person. And so they can involve those people too. So then you might think that those people are involved with gang stalking, and then sometimes it's just them. And ultimately, they want to try to have an influence, and they want to steer your life in the direction of their choosing. And they want you to help them. They want you to help them do that through manipulation with broadcast. And so you have to be careful. You have to live your life the way you want to live your life. And it's hard sometimes to figure out who to trust. But deep down, you can know, uh, I want to say you can know using your intuition, but maybe you can't. It gets very difficult to know sometimes who's who's your friend and who really wants to help you. Or that's really why I end up being kind of a loner, and I don't really have any friends. I don't really want any friends. I mean, the people that are close to me, it's like family, or family for real. And that's pretty much all I actually need, and I can depend on myself to to make the progress needed to defeat these gang stalkers that seem to have such an obsession with my life. Meanwhile, some of them are very jealous and angry about the direction of my life. I don't know why. I mean, it's beyond haterism. It's beyond possessiveness and infatuation and haterism and obsession. It's beyond all of that. It's something else, something completely different. There's very, very sick people, and it's way beyond any kind of stalking laws or anything like that. It's very bad, and their obsession is deep, and they are sacrificing the opportunity to have a real life by living as broadcast all the time and becoming obsessed with somebody's life, somebody that they call a target. They want to control something. They want to destroy something. It's a mental disorder. And I don't believe that you can fix these people. I think that they should be put to death with capital punishment. People that use broadcast for torture and jealousy and obsession, and they would rather hurt you or kill you than to see you succeed, because they've made it their personal vendetta, their personal mission to try to destroy your life as a game. And it's become an overwhelming obsession. And that's why you have some of these people that are on your neural monitoring for years and years, up to decades. When I woke up after this wild gang stalking party, mind control party hosted on my mind during my dream, when I woke up from that, I broadcast all in my abdomen area. I still have broadcast in my neck right here, right now. Attempted murder is what that is. And it feels like it's going to cause some kind of rupture or something. And I got gang stalkers acting mad, angry, jealous, and violent with broadcast. And they would never do this in person. They're cowards. They're not that type. They're not truly the gangster type. They're not. They're like playground bullies that are able to get away with doing stuff to people that don't tolerate playground bullies because they can hide in their own houses and many times it's somebody close by, and somebody that either knows you or knows the people that know you that have your neural monitoring, and they're able to get on there. But if you move away or whatever, it's possible they might sell it. You might move and get new gang stalkers if you're not that important to them. If you are, they'll stay anyway, and they'll gang stalk you on a different level, a lower level, meaning they're having a gang stalk you from distance, so they don't ever get to, ride past and see you in person, or lurk around at a place you're at, and actually get that real life interaction. They don't, and that's a lot for them. And then they don't get that. They'll gang stalk you the same way with broadcasts from 500 miles away or 1,000 miles away. I've been close to 3,000 miles, I believe, away from them, about as far away from you as you can get from them and still be in the United States. I'm from Atlanta, and they're in Atlanta, and I've been in California. I've been all the way in Seattle, Washington, and Texas, and Chicago, and just all around the country, really, many, many places, and in airplanes. And there's no bounds to their capabilities with broadcast. And I think if I was of less importance to them, if I didn't have the knowledge that I have, and the pathway that I've chosen, which is the correct pathway to learn enough, to destroy them, to destroy their way of life, and to put myself in a position financially and with knowledge to destroy them. And if I hadn't chosen that way, and also become one of the main advocates against gang stalking, and pretty much a public figure about gang stalking. If all that wasn't true, and I moved away or I went somewhere else thousands of miles away, they'd probably just sell the neural monitoring or pass it off to another group of local gang stalkers. But in my case, the same group of gang stalkers that I've been dealing with all the way since 2013, that I'm aware of. They could have been watching and doing stuff before then, and I just didn't know. But I've known since then, and I can't get rid of them, and I'll never get rid of them. As far as being replaced by other group of gang stalkers, they might allow other people to come on and stuff like that, but they'll never give up control or their position as a full-time main person on my neural monitoring. And it's very important to them, and this is like really an epic battle of gang stalking, because they take it serious as a way of life. They take it very serious, this gang stalking thing, and me telling everybody the real truth about how this stuff works, and being so public about it, and trying to motivate and influence people to start taking the correct pathway, and trying to help people understand all the manipulation and the trickery of it all, and how it actually works with broadcasts, and how it's not magic, and just all of the information that I put out there and everything. Like, I'll never get rid of these guys, and it really is an epic battle, and it'll be a battle to the end. And I can count on one thing, that they're not going anywhere until I make them go. And when I make them go, it's going to be a huge burden and expense on the culture of gang stalking and mind control. because of the pathway that I've had to take, and the despair that I've had to live through, the pain and the suffering, and having to come to know and talk to thousands and thousands of you guys out there that have been going through the same thing. And I see how bad it is. I know personally from my own experience how bad it is. Still, broadcast all in my neck. You know, they want to hurt you. They want to hurt you. And it's over jealousy. Jealousy and fear. They're so afraid that you're going to succeed. They're so afraid that girls are going to like you or not them or something like that. They're so afraid and they fear you in so many ways, and they're jealous of you. And so they want to suppress you. They want you to be as pathetic as they are. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. I'm going to live up to my potential. And I feel like it's a lot. I feel like there's not many people out there that can beat me overall, all around. I feel like I'm a top competitor at anything that I do. And so we're going to see where it lands and where it ends up. But, you know, it's not easy, but it's not likely that my gang stalkers, my group, there's one particular person that I'm pretty sure has possession of my neural monitoring still, and is part of this group, this Atlanta-based terrorist organization. And I'm acquainted with probably 20 different people. I wouldn't call any of them friends, but there are several of them that I was at a time very close to. And I know people that have become gang stalkers that were not, that may even have been targeted. And I know people that were gang stalkers for longer than I've known them. So, you know, and they're all worried about all of it. You know, but your situation might be different. You know, it's probably different. And the paths that we choose are probably very different. But the technology is the same. There's one technology with a lot of people using it a lot of different ways. And it's vast, and it has lots of capabilities within one technology. This mind control broadcast remote neural monitoring technology, satellite broadcast technology. And there's a lot that can be done with it. But they typically do a lot of the same things, especially the hardcore gang stalkers. Many of their tactics are the same. It's using what the technology is capable of doing. So, you know, but there's many ways they can use it, and we all do have many experiences that are different, and we all also have many phases that we're in. And for me, it's very different now, and I have a very solid understanding of how it all works. And you know, and I understood the basics of it, that it's broadcast and artificial telepathy and some of the things that they're able to do with all of this mind control stuff and the holograms and everything. I understood a lot of that all the way back to like 2016, you know, and that's now 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. We're in the 8th year of that, I think. So, you know, there's a few years before that where I was trying to figure out, you know, before they even started talking out loud, and when everything was just hacked, and I was being attacked physically with broadcast, tortured, but wasn't even aware of that's what it was. And there was a time there when I was trying to figure out what was going on, and I had never even heard of gang stalking or remote neural monitoring. And the biggest reason that I came out with this channel and the stuff that I was doing on other social medias before this channel was because when I started to search for all of this stuff in like 15, there was nothing there. There was hardly anything there. And then over the next year or so as my understanding of it, because I knew so many of them. And it's not like I'm just this person that was put this theory together. Okay, I caught many people in many situations, and I put it all together through personal experience, through knowing a bunch of people that were gang stalkers, and I know that it's the truth. And I wouldn't come out and say all this stuff publicly if it wasn't. I would say I don't know. And then there's some parts of it that I'll still tell you, like, I don't know. But most of it, a lot of it, I do know. And if I'm telling you firmly, yes, this is how it works on this channel, you can believe me. You can take that to the bank, okay? You can trust that because I know how it works. And there was nothing, anywhere on the internet that was even remotely accurate. There was a whole bunch of propaganda, and it's typically put there by two types of people: gang stalkers themselves to mislead you, and targeted people that had been misled. There's a thing called Rudy's WordPress Part 2 about satellite terrorism or something like that. And that was one of the only things that I could find all the way back to like 2014 and 15 that was somewhat accurate. And so I started coming out talking about it. But it's been crazy. It's been wild. I've talked to thousands of you guys, and I don't take a lot of time to talk to people anymore, unless I feel like you've said something that grabs my attention to say, okay, this person really knows what's going on and has an understanding of things, and we can probably collaborate. Or I don't really have time to collaborate on anything either. But there's a time when you're going through those phases of different understanding levels where nobody could tell you anything. You swear you know that they're demons, or that they this, they that, whatever. And, being pretty much an expert at being targeted by gang stalkers, unfortunately, I can say that a lot of people are still lost and still in some of those early phases. I also want to mention that I think a lot of people started to have this situation probably in between maybe 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and up. And it still starts to happen to people every day. But you won't find many people. You'll find people that'll say, oh, yeah, I've been targeted my whole life. And the problem with that is maybe it's true. And I know, like, MK Ultra and stuff, like, from many decades ago, that was the beginnings of what is now remote neural monitoring and all of that stuff. But you have to be reasonable about it and say, okay, well, a lot of the people that are doing it are in between 20 and 50 years old. Okay, they're accessing it over the internet. They're using smart mobile devices. They're using the internet in general. Okay, but before like the mid 90s, it was pretty rare to have internet, and it wasn't doing a whole lot. Okay, but as we went up through the 90s and into the 2000s, I think I had got my first laptop in like 1999 or something like that, maybe 2000. And then I bought a Mac Tower in 2001, probably. And, and from there, I had some old Nextel chirp phones, and then got into some flip phones. And I remember then, like, the Razors came out, and it was like the camera phones, and I had like a Nokia right around that era, and it had internet, but it wasn't real. It was, we called it the Minternet, and you could actually do some very basic things on the internet, but it wasn't like the real internet. You're still using number pad and triple tapping and stuff like that. And then at some point, like, I guess 2010 or so, you started to have like maybe 9 or 10 like iPhones and Android smartphones, and that's when this thing really took off. That's when the more rare desktop old school person that had neural monitoring access, um, that's when that's when it became more than just them. That's when it became a bunch of these kids here and there, everywhere, and which a lot of the young people from then, are now, uh, 40, 50 years old, and 30, 40, 50. And there's some of the old schoolers are probably, 60 plus. And those are the people that are gang stalking. So it is possible that you've been targeted since the 90s. Okay. But prior to that, it would have had to been like some for real government secret agents in a bunker somewhere, however they were accessing, like you had to be somebody special to have that kind of access back then, because there wasn't internet. There wasn't mobile internet for sure. And it wasn't common. It wasn't every day that everybody had computers and laptops. And, you started to see that in the 90s with like Windows 93 and Windows 95 and Windows 97, I think. And I was just a little child back then. But, when you started having those things, I grew up around that stuff, and my dad had computers. Um, if somebody would have showed him neural monitoring, who knows how my life would have been now. Um, but that's, you have to consider those things when you're talking about, hey, I've been targeted my whole life, and a lot of people say that. And a lot of people that say they're targeted, they are those type of people that say I'm targeted or whatever. They don't even know about neural monitoring and haven't experienced broadcast stuff. Okay, but everybody's on remote neural monitoring. You either have it or you don't, and that allows you to be targeted or not. Gang stalkers have a choice to be gang stalkers or to just have their own neural monitoring to, use as they wish to protect themselves and their families, to use it for all the advantages other than terrorism and torture and murder. But, if they choose to be hardcore gang stalkers and torture with broadcast, and yeah, they fall into those categories. So, but yeah, a lot of people had this really start happening. The boom for neural monitoring and targeting was maybe from, 09, 10, 11, 2011, 12, 13, all the way up to now, And it started for me, my awareness of something happening started in 13. And some people that I was very close to at the time either were gang stalkers or became gang stalkers. And instead of, I guess, letting me be part of their group or whatever, which I'm glad, I guess, because I don't want to be a gang stalker, and who knows. But that's why. Maybe they didn't, because they said, nah, he don't think about things the same as us. He'll mess this up for us. So they let some people in, and they don't let some people in. And if you're a threat to their culture, their way of life, or what they want to use this technology for, then they won't let you in. And so that's pretty well what happened with me. And a whole circle of people that I was associated with became gang stalkers and got neural monitoring. And since then, I've met people that I don't believe are gang stalkers that I know for sure have neural monitoring. And I believe that it's very possible that some people may decide to try to help me with neural monitoring in general. And either way, it's my life mission, because there's a lot of people that I care about. And I know how this works. And I know that you're not safe unless you have your neural monitoring, because they can do anything they want to you anytime from anywhere. They don't have to be where you are. They can physically attack you. Like I got guys right now that's probably 400 miles away from me right now, and they got a broadcast in my neck. all in my jawline, in my lymph node, in my neck, all down through here. I can feel in my chin, all right here, and they move around. It's like, ugh, causing jolts and stuff. And it feels like being burned and electrocuted. They're still into my right foot, got me limping around. And all of this, I have a lot of people, quite a few people that I feel obligated to protect from this type of thing. And so it's important. If somebody comes to war with you and they want to hurt your family, then you will die trying to protect them. All right. If you're worth anything, and that's exactly what I'll do. And no matter if they quit today and I never heard from them again, I will never stop trying to get neuromonitoring. I will never stop trying to eliminate them and to make them accountable and to hold somebody liable. Even if they quit bothering me today, because they've done a lot to me. They've done a lot to my family, and they've cost me a lot. And when somebody costs you a lot, that's a liability. And when somebody does something to affect your future by physically harming you, that's a liability. And they continue to rack up the liabilities that they can't afford. And they're going to have to pay some kind of way. So that's all. Woken up. They woke me up 3 o'clock in the morning. Broadcast party. I hosted on my mind. And then I wake up and I got broadcast saturated into several parts of my body. The ones that are just overwhelmed with jealousy and hatred. And it's their own life that's so horrible. They hate you because yours is not, or you have the potential for it to not be. They know they can never be you. Anyway, that's all for now. Thank you guys for watching. It's about that time, man.